can play. Okay, hello everybody. My name is Lelanie, and today I'm going to share my experiences with you on the future of education and how to build a digital classroom to maximize your student engagement and to deliver on your return on investment. So imagine the classroom of the future. Imagine a classroom where there's no desks, there's no walls, but access to lecturers and professionals across the world. In the classroom of the future, everyone will have access to and unlock the full potential of quality digital education. But how do you effectively simulate the face-to-face classroom in a digital environment? How do you get students to go online and stay online and interact with the content? And lastly, can a digital classroom really replace the teacher effectively? In short, yes. But the focus should be on quality digital education that is designed using an overlay of the following golden elements. The first element to consider is to use an instructional design model, which guides the design of your instruction using learning and instructional theory. It is used to define the activities that will guide the development of your e-learning courses. Many of these models exist. I'm sure all of you know about ADDIE, the Systems Approach module, Assure, and instructional design models. The second element is a visible digital pedagogy. We need to move away from digital activities that constitute the mere consumption of content, for example, watching a YouTube video, to content where a visible digital pedagogy is present and the student is encouraged to have conversation, correction, and creation with the content, working on a highly activated classroom. The next element is learning taxonomies. Now, research shows that teaching or learning that's focused around telling, showing, and getting hands-on experience is the best way for students to retain information. For that reason, it is important to follow a structure when designing content. Tell me, show me, let me try, and challenge me, where the student needs to integrate and apply the content. So the reality of the future is closer than you think. Let's look at John. Now, John dreams of being a printing apprentice, but there's no real opportunity where he lives. John enrolls for an online training college, which is situated in another country, which he cannot access. He enrolls online, and by applying the latest in 360 video technology, John can learn without physically being in the printing site. John can walk through the printing site. He can look at the setup of the various machines. There's video and text imaging that John can look at that's added. He can walk around and look at the various printers and the setup. And there's educational tags, which includes images, videos that enhance his learning experience. John can click on the educational tags to learn more about the specific technology. For example, in this video, we can see that he's learning about the TruePress jet printer, or he can even learn how to change the paper without physically being in the printer. John can easily view the floor plan, and when we now go inside the digital classroom, we can see that there's interactions that's based on digital pedagogy of interaction. So inside this digital classroom, John can access the material anytime, from anywhere, and he is exposed to interesting content. In the classroom, John can still learn the functionalities of the printer, even though he cannot touch it. This will prepare him before he even steps foot in the online or in the actual environment. Preparing students for practical applications in digital classrooms only saves time when giving practical instructions, but it also boosts their confidence to try it out themselves without being in the work environment. But what is the impact on your business? Now, it can significantly reduce costs, such as maintenance costs on classrooms and buildings. It can reduce costs to your teaching staff due to limited hours in a teaching facility, as well as reducing travel costs to your staff that needs to attend courses. When we look at the delivery method in an online environment, the content for a course can be created once, and it can be applied in a full-time space, in a part-time space, and in a fully distance space, and that is where you can generate your third stream income. But many students still have a preference for printed support within an online course. And as with digital content, printed material also need to follow a pedagogical perspective. So even though we now have technology where black and white can be printed, or color can be printed for the same price as black and white, it by no means means that you just need to make everything color. So you need to prevent yourself from just adding color for the sake of color, but do it from a pedagogical perspective. Do not fall trap to adding color. If we look at this index, by using color and digital design, it becomes a study tool. Think content redesign. If you look at the page on the left, on the right, it's been cleverly redesigned, and the client actually had a printing saving cost of 10 Rand per book. And you can see educationally, it looks a lot better. So how do you justify this development cost and convince your managers and executives that it's worth investing in? Let's look at a recent case study. Our client invested 300,000 Rand in creating an online course, and he sold this course to students for 8,000 Rand per student, and he invested 50% back in development. In the first year, 125 students enrolled, so the 50% actually covered the cost of the development. The client's profit were 5,600 per student, and 125 students enrolled in year one, giving him a profit of 700,000 Rand. In the second year, 10% of the budget per students were allocated to revisions. And if we take the same amount of students in the second year, the client's profit was 2.7 million Rand. You can do this calculation for yourself in the third year, especially if there's increased numbers. But how will the classroom of the future be managed? One way to do this is through using a good learner management system. We use Moodle, it is free and it is open source. And you need this learner management system to create amazing activities, and it needs good functionality as well as adaptability. But how do you make your e-learning look amazing so that students want to go online and stay online? Let's look at another case study. Our client, Sports Coaching Science Academy. We had to create a cohesive website and LMS for our client, where the students could do a level 1 and level 2 sports coaching qualification. This is their website, and we needed to pull that through to their Moodle site. And as you can see, we use the same branding, so the students still think they're in the same environment. We use blocks to add registration forms where we could gather potential student information. You can entice your students with examples of your course material so that they can also see the quality of your material before enrolling. Tell potential students a little bit more about your company and your program to get them excited about the course. If we actually go inside one of the courses, you need to guide your students through the course. Give clear instructions on the course objectives, as well as what can be expected in the course. Use infographics and interactivity to explain difficult concepts to your students. This will simulate learning and help the students to visually memorize difficult concepts for exams and tests. You need to reinforce concepts by challenging students with short, continuous assessments throughout your course. You need to incorporate all the different learning styles: visual, auditory, kinesthetic, reading and writing. Let's look at an example.
Air shot. Oh. It's Carlotta Bachama, the goal.
So this is a YouTube video where we've added interactions. As a video is playing in your learner management system in the back end, it seems as if everybody is watching your video, but what guarantee do you actually have that a student didn't update their Facebook status during this time? Your visual learner can see, your auditory learner can hear the content, your kinesthetic learner can complete practical tasks afterwards. And learners that need reading or writing to learn, we've put stop points in and the student actually need to complete it before they can continue. You need to reward your learners with graded activities throughout. If it doesn't count, they will not do it. Make interactions count. Like in this course, there are numerous activities that would make up the student's year mark. Ensure responsive design when working on your layout. Learners are not limited to classrooms and computers anymore. Your content needs to look just as good on a cell phone or a tablet as on your computer. The classroom of the future also challenges you to dare to be different. There is no reason why we should get stuck or be afraid to experiment with color. Know your learner management system template, its capabilities and its restrictions. Design your learner management site beautifully. Learners react not only to well-developed content, but also to visually appealing imagery. Activities should be part of your teaching strategy. Make use of learner management system plugins available to enhance your learning experience. Hotspot activities, as an example, Teachers with Association. Teach through continuous assessment. Not only does it keep your students engaged, but it also lets you know when a student is struggling with a key concept. Simulate software operations before students and employees enter the workforce. The example that you are seeing now is from the mining industry, where users needed to learn how to use a RF scanning device, but no physical device was available on the market to purchase as yet. We created an e-learning course where the students first received instructions, and then they needed to physically go through the course and click on the various interactions as if they are working on the RF device itself. The users were guided through simulations, series of steps. They needed to interact with the content and the device, ultimately equipping themselves with the necessary skills. So by the time that they have the actual device in their hands, they were equipped to use it as they've been through the course. Students also had the opportunity to retry the course content or to continue to the next section. The classroom of the future is alive. You need to use reporting as it gives you a great overview of your students' progress, where they are situated and how they are progressing. And it's also a great way to know if you need to adapt your content. The classroom of the future is no longer traditional. Let's look at another case study. This is an advanced mathematics example, and the brief was to use it in an African market, and we needed to explain mathematics that a lot of people will tell you is not very effective online. You need to tell a story. Remember, the digital classroom becomes the teacher. We are no longer looking at a traditional classroom. We can reach students on more than one level with audio, video, and infographics. Can you turn the volume up a bit?
In computation on mathematical expressions and solving various equations.
Use voice clips to connect on a more personal level and explain hard to grasp concepts. Let's look at a case study. Example, the students first needed to watch, then they needed
Example
to
1.
do it for
Calculate the
themselves.
value of the expression cube root of pi by using a scientific calculator. Start by typing the Shift key, then press cube root on your calculator as shown next. Then we type the Shift key again followed by the pi key. When we click the equal key, the answer will be displayed. Now try doing this by yourself.
Show the students how the tool and the concept work before you encourage them to try it for themselves. Challenge the students by encouraging them to try the activities. Guide them through the process of experimenting. Give formative feedback, affirming concepts when they answer correct, as well as when there's incorrect responses. Not only is this a good way to encourage your students through the course, but it is also a good way to prepare them for the exams. The classroom of the future should be built on a strong learning taxonomy. For the classroom to be successful, you need to create activities that's related to Bloom's taxonomy, where the students do not only need to remember and understand the content, but they need to work on a higher cognitive level by analyzing, evaluating, and creating content. If time is money, the classroom of the future can save your lecturers a lot of time. And therefore, your institution saves money in the long run. Can you envision the effect that this can have on your business? Micro-learning is important. Keep it short and sweet. People want to digest information in small sections. Let's look at an explainer video that we did for a budgeting course. That was the course introduction.
Welcome to the Budget Basics program. We are sure that after you have completed this free program, you will have a better understanding of how to use your money and, more importantly, how best to spend and save it. We encourage you to download the documents and to make use of the personal budget planner. Let's begin. Us need help. Budget planning sounds really scary, but like most good habits, practice makes perfect. You will only achieve positive results once you get into the habit of doing your budget on a monthly or weekly basis.
As you can see, it sets the tone and the student immediately knows it's going to be interesting. So let's look at my 10 top tips. To design a successful classroom for the future, your learner management system must be a one-stop shop. You need to integrate. Your content must be visually appealing and educationally sound. You need to encourage interaction through meaningful activities. Use micro-learning. Keep it short and sweet. Include all the different learning styles. Ensure responsive design. Remember, South Africa is mobile first. Tell a story. The digital space becomes the teacher. Reward your learners with graded activities and badges. Continuous assessment is key. Provide formative feedback. There is a lot of speculation about technology, holograms, virtual reality, and fantastical imaging. But the reality is we need to keep it affordable and in line with a visible digital pedagogy. The education of things should not get lost in mere trickery. When done right, e-learning can be less expensive. When done right, e-learning can be more engaging. And when done right, e-learning can be more successful and easier to implement than traditional learning. And lastly, when done right, e-learning can be more effective than traditional forms of training. Can you now imagine a future where every student, irrespective of their location or economical circumstances, have access to high-quality education? The classroom of the future is the reality of today. Once again, my name is Lelanie. I'm from Calitech Holdings. If you haven't visited us, please visit us in the exhibition hall. We are part of Calitech Holdings, and our companies include Credo Books, Calitech Printing, Blue Rooster, and Seifert Publishing. Thank you very much for listening.